Hello friends, welcome to Adobe After Effects lesson number 5. This is the much awaited lesson because I promised that in this lesson I would train you or teach you how we can do a little bit of animation. I wouldn't be taking you into in-depth animation on this tutorial, but I'll give you some exciting information about how you can start animating. Now, as you can see, I have a picture on my composition window, and I will show you how you can animate characters or how you can animate static images so that they look more or less like lifetime moving. Now, one of the things that you would notice, if you know a little bit about animation, you would know that to do a proper animation you would need to basically create frames. Frame by frame you would have to create motion, more or less like Walt Disney and big guys do it. But what we're going to do is start small and then probably graduate into more professional sort of animation. So the way to do it is you would need to import any of the image that you want to work on or you want to animate, and then a couple of things that you always need to remember about animation is it is always good to work on good quality images. So yeah, we'll get started with this. The tool that we would be talking about is the puppet tool. It's called the puppet tool, and more or less like a puppet. Assume that you were a puppet artist, and you would move a puppet or a character in the composition window. The way to do it is at the top of the menu bar, you would see there's an option here which is like a pin, a small dashboard pin, and when you take your mouse on there, it would come up with a name which says puppet pin tool. The option is Command and P, but I would just use the mouse. So if I click on that once, and if I keep my mouse pressed, you would see it comes up with 3 different options: puppet pin tool, puppet overlap, and puppet starch. I will tell you about all of these later on, but yeah, let's just select the default one for now, and then bring on to the composition window. You would see it comes up with a small icon of a pin. So what I would do is I would start putting pin points into positions that I would want to move. So assume this as to be a real lifetime character, or if assume this to be a puppet, and as if you were trying to basically create a hole where you can actually put in a string and kind of make the puppet dance. So having said that, I have put pins in a few points now, and you would notice the moment you take your mouse on one of these points that you have just created, the mouse would actually move change into a move mouse. So the moment it changes the icon and becomes a move mouse, as you can see on my screen, I can actually move it. So what would happen is the image would start moving as if it was being animated. Similarly, if I were to move shake the body, I would need to select a different tool or a different point, and then just move it. Or if, for example, if I wanted to move her legs, I would select the point that I created on the leg and move the leg, the left one and the right one. Or for example, if I were to move her hand, I would move the hands like this. Now the good thing about Adobe After Effects is that it is very smart. So if you wanted to actually animate this, what you can do is press the Command key on your keyboard or the Control key on your keyboard, and it would show a small stopwatch, which means that Adobe After Effects is now ready to record your animation. So what we would do is just keep the key pressed, the Command key pressed, and I would just do an animation up and down, up and down, up and down a few times, and it has recorded my animation. And then what I would do is create another one where I move the leg up a little bit and then leave it like that. Now what you can do is now press the home key or the function left arrow and then see how this is performing for you. So if I see the timeline and if I move the timeline a little bit, you would see that the girl is animating, though it's not a lot, but she's basically animated. She's basically moving her hand and her leg. So you can do this over a longer period of time, over a bigger timeline. So you can increase your timeline and then record it for a longer time, and you would see that the animation is actually taking place. Now this is the puppet pin tool. Now let's understand what is a overlap tool. Think of this. if you wanted to animate the hand movement, and let's say she wanted to take her hand behind her back, how would you animate that? To do that, you would need the overlap tool. So what we would do is click on the overlap tool and create a point. So in this case, the hand. The moment you select any tool, you would see there are options that would display on the top. It says in front and extend. So in front is basically whether you want to go in the front or you want it to go in the back. So if you increase the value, it would become white, and decrease the value, it would become black, depending on whether you want the hand to go in the back or you want to, the hand to come in the front. Same thing with extend. Extend is basically how much of it would you like to overlap with the other layers. So what I would do is I would reduce a little bit, and what I would now do is go back and select the pin to select the puppet pin tool and see how it moves now. So if I were to take the hand back, as you can see, the hand is actually moving towards the back, though I've not done it properly, but yeah, it's moving towards the back. That's how you would do the overlap tool. Now, talking about the starch tool is basically, the word itself will tell you starch means making it rigid. So if you were to make one portion of the character rigid, you can do that using the starch tool. You do the same thing, select the starch tool, create a point, sorry about that, increase the extent or decrease the extent depending on how much of it you want to be rigid, and what amount you can increase the amount depending on what part of the character you would want to make stiff. Once you've done that and you go back and select the puppet pin tool, you would see that when you move it, only that portion would actually move, and the rest of the character would more or less stay the same. It wouldn't be as flexible as it was. So again, repeating myself, the starch tool would basically make the portion that you selected stiffer, and only that portion would basically move when you use the pin tool. So that's about it. In the next tutorial, I will teach you how to animate text. In this one, we learned about animating characters. In the next one, I'll teach you how to animate text. And that's also very simple, but yeah, in the next lesson. Until then, thanks for watching my video. Thank you.